I never expected her to latch onto me like that. She insisted on sleeping on my arm every night and loved nibbling my Adam's apple with her little fangs. She said it was only so she would never forget my scent. Only after her memories returned did I learn that the little beggar was actually Heisshi's long-missing heiress, and she had already been promised to another man. I forged a death certificate and fled in a hurry. I only dared return 3 years later, when I heard she had married. Yet she was wearing a wedding dress when she had her bodyguards bind me and take me to a wedding venue. You just won't learn, so I'll keep you locked up. My agent took me to meet the art exhibition's investor, but I hesitated, afraid to approach, because Zhou Jinhuan, the heiress of Heisschi, stood among the crowd, holding champagne as people showered her with praise. President Zhou, I heard you invested in this art exhibition because of your fiancé. I suppose the figure in the painting is him. Zhou Jinhuan took a sip of champagne. The other person smiled even more warmly. When you were injured in that accident, he must have cared for you devotedly. Now that you two are about to marry, you truly are a match made in heaven. Zhou Jinhuan shook her head coolly. No. Then, the person tried to say more, but Zhou Jinhuan swirled her glass and cut them off impatiently. He's right here. Startled, I quickly shifted behind my agent. She suddenly burst out laughing, then pointed out the window. He's watching us from heaven. I let out a long breath. Right, I was already dead. What was there to fear? 3 years ago, to escape Zhou Jinhuan, I personally forged my own death certificate. She had even put up a tombstone for me. Even if she stood before me now, she surely would not recognize me. My agent suddenly murmured in my ear. That man had no luck. If he'd lived until now, he could have had anything he wanted. I lowered my head. Impossible. My agent leaned closer, raising his brows. Xiaoji, you're still too young. When a woman is at her most vulnerable, that's when she's most likely to fall in love. All a man has to do is sweet-talk her a little, and she'll be head over heels. Guilt flickered through me as I pressed my lips together. Was that true? Back then, was Jinhuan only moved by my attentive care, making me the one love she could never have. After the car accident, her entire body was covered in wounds of varying severity. Her medicine had to be changed every day, and the itchy numbness of healing flesh made her whimper in misery. Xiaoxing, I'm itchy. Before that, I had never even had a girlfriend. Blushing, I only dared rub her through her clothes. That apparently was not enough for her. She grabbed my hand and pressed it to her chest. Zhou Jinhuan panted, crying that it itched. Her little face was flushed bright red. I was so worried that I had no idea what to do. I only thought she could not catch her breath. In the end, she straddled me as if in frustration. Her cold lips scattered frantic kisses over every part of me. At the memory, my breathing slowly grew heavier. The next second, my agent grabbed my hand and led me to Zhou Jinhuan. The aloof woman looked up and smiled. This gentleman looks familiar. Zhou Jinhuan looked me over from head to toe. My blood ran cold. Unconsciously, I touched my right hand. No, she would not realize it was me. Though we had shared a bed for a full year, and she had nibbled all over me like a cat, she had never known what I looked like. In fact, as far as she knew, I had long been dead. President Zhou. This is Xingchun, the artist I just signed. My agent bent forward and lightly clinked glasses with Zhou Jinhuan. She lifted her brows, her gaze dark and deep, as if she wanted to draw something in. Just like when we first met. 2 years earlier, I had just scraped together my grandmother's hospital fees, only to be told that 10 minutes earlier, resuscitation had failed and she had passed away. I crouched in the hallway, clutching my head. When I saw nurses wheeling out a hospital bed, they sighed that the accident victim had no family to be found. So young, yet they could only stop treatment. Zhou Jinhuan lay on the bed with her eyes open. Her entire body was wrapped in bandages. Only one hand remained exposed, gripping the bed rail tightly. She murmured unconsciously, "No. Save me." I clenched the bank card in my hand. The only person I had ever depended on, who had depended on me too, would never need this money again. Now, another life needed it. Had Grandma, watching from heaven, feared I would be alone and arranged this for me. I hurriedly stood and grabbed the nurse's arm. "I have money. Please save her." Later, I spent all my savings to save Zhou Jinhuan. Then I took her home and nursed her back to health. She often purred beside my ear like a little cat. For a time, I mistakenly believed life like this could be good. "Xiaoji, what are you doing?" My agent's voice sounded beside me. I came back to my senses, then hurriedly lowered my head and lightly clinked glasses with Zhou Jinhuan. Her gaze kept drifting over my right hand. Ever since my right hand was injured in an accident 3 years ago, I had been unable to paint with it. Even daily life had become difficult. Not until my palm began to sweat, and I nearly lost my grip on the glass, did Zhou Jinhuan purse her lips and withdraw her glass. Then she turned to exchange pleasantries with someone else. She really had not recognized me. My agent tugged my sleeve and whispered, "Xiaoji, have you lost your mind? Let me tell you, President Zhou is beautiful, but people like us have no business dreaming about her. She and her current fiancé were promised to each other as children. If you dare lay a finger on President Zhou today, tomorrow I'll be fishing your body out of the sea." So, she's untouchable, but no one knew her body better than I did. 3 years ago, to leave her. I lied that an investor wanted to hold an exhibition for me, on the condition that I became her kept man. Zhu Jinhuan's eyes turned red. She buried herself against my chest and clung tightly to my waist, begging me not to leave. I hardened my heart and shoved her away. I told her I had only saved her to toy with her. But after hearing that, she somehow began calling me master over and over, then pinned me down on the bed. If my agent knew about that scene, he would probably light 3 funeral incense sticks on the spot. I sighed. I should be grateful her fiancé spared my life back then. Still, once today's exhibition ended, we would never see each other again. At that thought, a rush of unexplainable restlessness rose within me. Suddenly, Zhu Jinhuan's voice sounded behind me. Xingchun. Startled, I quickly turned around. But the moment our eyes met, I understood. Could it be that she recognized me? A chill raced down my spine and through my body, just as I wondered how to explain myself. A chubby little hand gripped my pant leg. My breath caught instantly. It was the little girl who used to live next door. She had an intellectual disability. Her parents were often away from home, so I looked after her whenever I could. Though the girl could not speak, she had learned to make halting sounds. When I left 3 years ago, I deliberately left her parents a large sum of money. Why was Zhu Jinhuan caring for her now? And what did that Xingchun just now mean? Was she calling me? Or the girl? Had she recognized me? Did she want to dump my body in the sea for the fish? I shivered for no reason. As I stood there frozen, Zhu Jinhuan crouched down, opened her arms, and softly said to the girl, Xingchun, come here. So Zhu Jinhuan had given the girl a new name. But the girl apparently had not seen me in a long time. She clung to my pant leg and refused to let go. Her eyes even reddened with tears. Zhu Jinhuan smiled. It seems Xingchun really likes you, Mr. G. My heart leaped into my throat, afraid Xingchun would recognize me and blow my cover. All I could say stiffly was, heh. Children like being affectionate with adults. That's normal. I pretended to be disgusted and stepped away. The atmosphere instantly turned cold. Holding Xingchun, Zhu Jinhuan said coldly, Mr. G, do you not keep pets? I do not like them. Why not? I pressed my lips together. Because I cannot bear responsibility for their whole lives. I once thought I could save grandma, help Xingchun, and even be with Zhu Jinhuan. But in the end, I was the only one left. It had always been just me. I turned and walked away without looking back. The next second, Xingchun wailed in Zhu Jinhuan's arms. Brother. Xingchun tried to call me back, her words unclear, but I could only keep walking away with my back to them. Now that Zhu Jinhuan was willing to take care of her, what was left for me to hold on to? Suddenly, the sound of a picture frame hitting the floor came from behind me. I hurriedly turned around. Zhu Jinhuan had fallen to the ground while holding Xingchun. The fallen picture frame lay beside them. Zhu Jinhuan's ankle immediately swelled and reddened. I did not stop to think. I rushed over, gathered her into my arms, and checked her to see whether she was hurt anywhere else. Her wet, reddened eyes lifted to mine. For a moment, I was dazed. It felt like 3 years ago, when she curled up in my arms, her voice trembling as she told me she had a nightmare. Jinhuan, what happened? A gentle voice sounded above me. I looked up and saw the same face from before. It was Zhu Jinhuan's fiancé, Zhou Yinghuai. Zhu Jinhuan's perfume drifted all around me. It was an unfamiliar scent, just like her and me. We had always been worlds apart, just as when Zhou Yinghuai had covered his nose and first entered my rundown little home. Beneath his gleaming leather shoes was a floor that could never be scrubbed clean of its grime. The place reeked of mildew. How could Jinhuan stand living here, looking as poor as you do? How could you possibly protect her? More likely, she would have to protect you. My right hand was already injured then. If it had been before, I would have held my head high and fought him over it. But every word Zhou Yinghuai said was the truth. I could only bow my head and let him dictate terms to me. But 3 years had passed. Everything was over. I did not need to bow to him again. I helped Zhu Jinhuan to her feet, then let go and met Zhou Yinghuai's eyes. For an instant, his pupils shook, but the next second, his fake smile returned. Thank you for helping us, sir. U.S.? He was openly claiming Zhu Jinhuan as his. Still, I bet he would not dare reveal that we knew each other. Zhou Yinghuai pulled Zhu Jinhuan into his arms. His gaze tender, he said, Jinhuan and I are getting married soon. Nothing can happen to her. Zhu Jinhuan stared directly at me, as though she could see through to my soul. After a brief standoff, I smiled too. Congratulations, President Zhou. May you grow old together. To my surprise, thick fog seemed to churn in Zhu Jinhuan's eyes. She repeated each word slowly. May you grow old together. I shuddered. I could only force myself to stay calm, then flee in panic. But Zhu Jinhuan suddenly called after me. She took a red invitation from her secretary behind her. Mr. G, our wedding is next week. You must attend. Her tone did not sound like an invitation. It carried a heavy threat instead. Why? To her now, I was only a stranger she had met once. Had she discovered something? But seeing her and Zhou Yinghuai leaning intimately against each other, I dismissed the thought. Smiling, I accepted the invitation. The exhibition would end in a week. By then, I would likely have left hiking. Zhou Yinghuai kissed the top of Zhu Jinhuan's head, but stared straight at me. That's right. Mr. G, you must come to our wedding. Those little matters from before are behind us. I nodded. After leaving, I casually tossed the invitation into a trash can. What happened before, for Zhou Jinhuan, was likely the painful past she least wanted to mention. Then let it all stay in the past. I thought once the exhibition ended, Zhou Jinhuan and I would never cross paths again. But early the next morning, my agent called. The investors were holding a celebration dinner. I instinctively refused. After all, Zhou Jinhuan had nearly exposed my identity at the exhibition, and it still made my scalp tingle with fear. But my agent shouted from the other end, "President Zhou specifically asked for you. She said if you do not come, you will not get a cent of the final payment." At the dinner, my agent dragged me along, bowing and scraping before the investors, until he finally led me before Zhou Jinhuan. She offered her hand. Xiaoxing. Long time no see. My heart immediately raced. Had she discovered something? Was she testing me? I deliberately stayed calm and shook her hand. "President Zhou, my surname is Ji. You can call me Xiao Ji." Back then, I never told her my real name. I only told her to call me Xiaoxing, as Grandma did. So all these years, she had never been able to trace me. Seeing how blunt I was, my agent angrily tugged at my sleeve. "Xiaoxing is good. It sounds so much friendlier." Zhou Jinhuan watched me and said casually, "Xiaoxing was the name of someone I once knew. He was also an artist. Sadly, he died several years ago. Seeing this gentleman now makes me feel a little sad." My agent silently wiped his sweat and gave an apologetic smile. He had not expected her to say something so inappropriate. I hurriedly laughed it off, while preparing to find a corner to sit in. But Zhou Jinhuan waved us over to sit beside her. Before I could refuse, my agent had firmly pressed me into a seat. Fine, I would just keep my head down and eat. But the next second, I saw that the table was covered in seafood. The corner of my mouth twitched. If I had known attending this exhibition could endanger my life, I never would have come back. I was severely allergic to seafood, the kind that could make my throat swell shut and kill me. Zhou Jinhuan knew that better than anyone. I held my chopsticks without moving. "Xiaoxing, Mr. G, are you not eating?" Zhou Jinhuan asked pointedly. I gritted my teeth. If I refused now, she would become even more suspicious. There would be some time before the allergy hit. I could make an excuse, leave and get to a hospital. It should be fine. I raised my chopsticks, picked up the smallest slice of salmon, closed my eyes, about to put it in my mouth. But someone suddenly grabbed my wrist. It was Zhou Jinhuan. Her eyes blazed with anger. She looked like she'd caught me cheating, as if she were about to devour me alive. I swallowed hard, too guilty to look up and meet her eyes. She gestured behind her. Waiters filed in carrying 8 dishes and a soup. They stood behind me and said in unison, "Mr. G, please enjoy your meal." Even my agent was startled by the display. He lowered his head and whispered, "Impressive. Xiao Ji, have you secretly become President's kept man? Just look how obsessed she is with you. But be careful her fiancé does not find out. Otherwise, we will be fishing you out of the sea." Looking at the 8 dishes and soup before me, I tightened my grip on my chopsticks. Once, in that rundown little home, I had promised that once I had money, I'd bring her to this hotel for a lavish night out. The two of us would boldly order 8 dishes and a soup, too. 3 years ago, after I completed Zhou Jinhuan's discharge paperwork, I stuffed my remaining money into her hand and prepared to leave. But she tugged at the corner of my clothes, her unfocused eyes wide, and sobbed at the hospital entrance. "Xiaoxing, do you not want me anymore?" I held her shoulders. "You should go home." Zhou Jinhuan shook her head. Though she could not see, her eyes held a strange power that pulled people in. "You are all I have. Do not abandon me. I will do anything you ask." The wounds on Zhou Jinhuan's cheeks had not healed, and she stared at me with terror-filled eyes, unable to look away. Passers-by pointed and whispered at me. It looked just like some melodrama about a man abandoning his wife. In the end, I could only grit my teeth and lead her all the way back to my rundown little home. The doctor said treating Zhou Jinhuan's eyes would require large amounts of expensive imported medicine. So I worked 3 jobs a day, not getting home until late at night. But no matter how late it was, she always waited for me. A dinner she had made herself waited on the table. "Xiaoxing, I am holding you back. Once I get better, I will not let you work this hard again. Whatever you want, even the moon in the sky, I will bring it to you. Believe me." Xiaoxing. Seeing her hands covered in blisters, I was, of course, deeply moved. But later, I learned Zhou Jinhuan had not injured herself cooking because she was blind. She had simply never cooked a day in her life. Back then, I only knew to hold her tenderly in my arms, carefully apply medicine to her wounds, and blow on them as I joked. "That is not true. With or without you, I would still have to work. Once I save enough, I'll take you to the finest hotel in neighboring Haishi. We will order 8 dishes and a soup, too. We will eat until we have to lean on the wall to leave. Once your eyes are healed, we will get a big house. Every day, you can drink tea and arrange flowers and truly enjoy life. If you like children, we will have one. If not, we can get a furry little pet instead." As I rambled on, Zhou Jinhuan did not say a word. She only straddled my lap, slid her fingers into my hair, and covered my cheeks with soft, lingering kisses, until she pushed me onto the bed. Thinking back, Zhu Jinhuan had not answered me then, not because she was shy, but because she disdained it. To her, from birth, she was Heiress' heiress, looking down on the entire city. People like us, crawling through the mud. She did not care, nor did she want to know about my future. Like that rundown little home, I was merely a part of her past she could not bring herself to mention. Suddenly, someone entered the private room, pulling me back from my memories. It was Zhou Yinghuai. He wore a white suit and smiled as he took the seat on Zhu Jinhuan's other side. They truly were an engaged couple. Their presence was strangely in sync, naturally shutting everyone else out. Zhou Yinghuai peeled a shrimp and placed it on Zhu Jinhuan's plate. Jinhuan, why did you come to the celebration yourself? Did you know I was next door? Everyone around them immediately started teasing. Though I kept my head down and ate, I could not help glancing at Zhu Jinhuan. She showed no displeasure. She even raised her brows with faint satisfaction. A sudden ache rose in my heart. So Zhu Jinhuan had come here today, only because her fiancé happened to be in the private room next door. No. Zhu Jinhuan's voice rang out as she casually put the shrimp from her plate into her mouth. I took a deep breath. This place was suffocating. I did not want to watch them being all lovey-dovey, or hear everyone praising them as a match made in heaven. I stood and said, "Excuse me." Then I rushed out without even taking my coat. I waited outside for a car. The cool night breeze instantly cleared my head. Then a familiar voice came from behind me. "Zhu Jinhuan, you really cannot let him go. They only sound alike. He is already dead. Besides, he extorted a fortune from me before he left. Why can you not forget a scumbag like him?" Perhaps Zhu Jinhuan noticed I had left my coat behind, and Zhou Yinghuai had followed her up. But Zhou Yinghuai was only half right. I was indeed a scumbag. When Zhou Yinghuai came to find me again and told me to leave Zhu Jinhuan, I agreed without a second thought. I even shamelessly held out my hand and demanded 1 million. But the idea that Zhu Jinhuan could not forget me was absolutely impossible. That day, after buying her medicine, I happened to get home early. There, I saw the woman who was supposedly blind, gently holding the face of the man before her. Her eyes were crystal clear, her gaze tender as water. She did not look blind in the slightest. She even buried her head in his chest and murmured that she wanted to leave this place soon. I clenched the medicine in my hand. My chest twisted with pain. All along, I was the only blind one. So later, when Zhou Yinghuai insisted he and Zhu Jinhuan had long been engaged, even tossing photos of the two of them in bed before me, I could still negotiate with him without changing expression. I walked away with 1 million, while he demanded that I fake my death and erase my identity. What a profitable deal. No ordinary worker could make 1 million in a single year. That night, when I returned to my rented hotel room, I quickly began packing my things, wanting to leave this mess behind as soon as possible. Then my agent called. "Xiaoji, do you remember the little girl President Zhou brought to the art exhibition? She came to the celebration today and got lost. Everyone is frantic. You left early. Did you see her? If you did, tell me right away." Xingchun was lost. The celebration was crowded and chaotic. Xingchun probably did not even know the way. It was far too easy for her to get lost. I used to worry she would not be able to find home, so I told her the way back over and over. I told her that no matter what happened, I would be waiting for her at home. And today's hotel happened to be right beside that rundown little home. Could Xingchun have gone there? I did not stop to think. I hurried to the rundown little home. Sure enough, the door was open. I pushed it open and went inside. An adult figure sat on the sofa. The next second, the door behind me suddenly shut. At the same time, the lights came on. "Xiaoxing, you came home so late today." My breath caught. It was Zhu Jinhuan. She sat on the sofa, wearing the coat I had just left at the hotel. I made one last desperate attempt. "President Zhu, Xingchun is not here. Are you sure you did not come to the wrong place?" Zhu Jinhuan's gaze locked onto me. "Xingchun is afraid of strangers. Yet she approached you at the exhibition and could not bear to leave you. When that picture frame fell, you pulled me into your arms without a thought. There is not another person in all of hiking who would dare do that. You knew you were allergic to seafood, yet you still picked up your chopsticks in front of me. And your right hand was injured. Xiaoxing, I was blind then, not stupid. Your voice, your body, I know them better than you know yourself. How could I fail to recognize you? So from the moment we first met, my cover had already been completely blown. What was the point of hiding anymore? So what if you recognized me? What could Haiqin's untouchable richest woman possibly need from a worthless insect like me? You slept with me, then thought you could run." Zhu Jinhuan's eyes were red, radiating fury. She advanced on me step by step. Her heels clicked sharply against the floor, a sound both clear and unfamiliar. I closed my eyes, with nothing to say. If she slapped me then, I truly could not protest. After all, I was the one who had failed to take responsibility for her to the end. But the next second, cool, soft lips pressed against my Adam's apple. When I opened my eyes, Zhu Jinhuan's lips had already pulled away. Yet her hand slowly traced my eyes, then glided over my nose, my cheeks, and my lips. At last, I can truly see you. Just as I imagined. Xiaoxing, do you know, 3 years ago, I already wanted to see what you looked like. What a pity. This face of yours is the most handsome face I have ever seen. I will never forget it. She looked as if she were admiring a work of art. Her eyes held nothing but me. My heart pounded wildly. 3 years ago, I had imagined countless ways she might look when her sight returned. But now, it was still too late. I avoided her hands on my face and said in a low voice, President Zhou, is this fun for you? Zhou Jinhuan's hands froze. You have money, power, and handsome men now. Are you bored and lonely again? Do you want to play these low-class games with me again? Fine, no problem. Pay me, and I will play along for however long you want. To have a fleeting affair with President Zhou of Hiking. Countless people would line up for that. I spat it all out in one breath, without considering the consequences at all. A storm seemed to be brewing in Zhou Jinhuan's eyes. Her eyes widened. So, you left me back then only for money, and now you are willing to return. Only for money. Too. Do you not have even a shred of feeling for me? No. Before I could finish, she rose onto her toes and sealed my mouth with hers. She bit down hard, as if venting all her anger. Her slightly cool palms roamed over my body, slowly undoing my shirt buttons, then moving lower. For some reason today, nothing I said provoked any reaction from her. Since that was the case, I could only force myself to continue. The instant her lips left mine, I called out, come on, 100,000 for one night. That is not a bad deal for me. Pay first. Then use me. I finally pushed Zhou Jinhuan too far. Fury burned in her eyes. She snapped her fingers. A group of bodyguards in black stormed into the room. They blindfolded me and hauled me away. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on the large bed in Zhou Jinhuan's villa. A robe was wrapped around her body. She stared at me without blinking, thinking of how I had been forcibly brought here, and that I might be lying on the new bed she shared with Zhou Yinghuai. Anger surged through me. You brought me here to show me just how lavishly President Zhou lives now, and how miserable I was back then. A flash of loneliness crossed Zhou Jinhuan's face, but she quickly turned to the bedside drawer and pulled out a white porcelain jar. She slowly unscrewed it. A pungent medicinal scent immediately filled the room. I had a doctor prepare this ointment. It might help your right hand. As she spoke, she scooped up a dab of black ointment, then slowly rubbed it into my right palm. My nose stung, but I quickly composed myself. When Zhou Yinghuai first came to see me, I rejected him without hesitation, because I trusted Zhou Jinhuan, and trusted even more that I could still protect her. Until one night, when a group of men burst into our shabby little home and pressed a blade to her waist. I was terrified. I grabbed the blade with my bare right hand, but the nerves in my palm were severed. I could never pain again. Back then, I could love without restraint, protecting her like a moth flying into flame. But in the 3 years since I left her, I had already learned to paint with my left hand. So this jar of ointment was no longer that important to me. I pulled back my right hand and smiled calmly. President Zhou kidnaps a man home in the middle of the night, then puts him on her future marital bed. I wonder what your fiancé would think if he knew. Zhou Jinhuan silently watched me. After a long moment, she laughed. Is Xiaoxing jealous? Do not worry. This room, you are the only one who has ever been here. I had not expected her to be so completely unfazed. I snapped. You rich people really know how to play the field. The wedding is about to happen, yet the bride is still entangled with another man. The next second, she suddenly wrapped her arms around my waist. She pressed her face to my chest. Her warm body made my heart race. There has never been another man. You are the only one I want to marry. Impossible. Suppressing the turmoil in my heart, I pushed her out of my arms. 3 years ago, the Xiaoxing who lived in that shabby little home died. The man before you now is Xingchun, whom you have only met twice. Why? The corners of Zhou Jinhuan's eyes reddened. You clearly got your memories back, yet you are still lying to me. I could not stop myself from sniffing. You knew about that medicine. You knew about my hand. Forget it. Someone like me was always meant to be a stranger to a privileged woman like you. For the sake of the help I once gave you, can you not let me go? I had tried to say it calmly, but in the end, I could not help it. My voice trembled despite myself. Zhou Jinhuan kept her head lowered. A moment ago, she had been engulfed in towering rage. Now she looked utterly deflated, her head hanging low. After a moment, she looked up. She tried hard to hold back a sniffle, then forced a smile more heartbreaking than tears. Like an injured kitten. 3 years ago, she had used that pitiful look to fool me again and again. But my heart had hardened now. I turned away, unwilling to look at her. After another long while, she seemed to finally gather her courage. She stroked my right hand. Then, my wedding. Will you still come? No. If you come, I can promise to let you go. Zhou Jinhuan's voice held undisguised pleading. I hesitated. And Xingchun. You can take Xingchun with you, too. I will give you a sum of money as well. She quietly tightened her grip on my right hand. At last, I nodded. I agreed. If my time with Zhou Jinhuan had been a dream, then Xingchun was the last thing I could not let go of. You have to come, please. That night, I was forced to move into Zhou Jinhuan's villa. She knew that if she let me go home, I would definitely break my promise and not attend her wedding. I truly could not figure out what this heiress was thinking. She was about to marry Zhou Yinghuai, yet she was forcing me to live with her. Was this how the rich got their kicks? But since I could not understand it, I could not be bothered to think about it. Early the next morning, I went downstairs for breakfast, only to find Zhou Yinghuai leaning against the doorway with his arms crossed, his face dark. Mr. G, I really underestimated you. Did you think that by using a few little tricks to make Jinhuan recognize you, you could rekindle things with her? Dream on. I gave a soft laugh. From what Zhou Jinhuan had said, I guess Zhou Yinghuai had not dared to tell her about our agreement. He had probably embellished the story too. Not only had I become some investor's kept man, but I had greedily demanded $1 million, then abandoned Zhou Jinhuan without a second thought. Of course, Zhou Yinghuai was not entirely wrong. He had merely taken advantage of the situation. After all, Zhou Jinhuan and I did not even have basic trust between us. But I was no longer the Xiaoxing of 3 years ago. Back then, Zhou Jinhuan was my weakness. Now, I had nothing left to fear. Mr. Zhou, I think you are confused. President Zhou is the one pursuing me now, not the other way around. I hope you can keep your fiancé in line. When all was said and done, Zhou Yinghuai had a good family background and an impressive education. Why did he insist on acting like a bitter, neglected spouse? Would it not be better to focus on his own life? I seemed to have infuriated him, but since we were still in Zhou Jinhuan's home, he could only leave me with a few threats. No matter what you say today, Zhou Jinhuan will be my bride next week. I casually patted his shoulder and walked past him. He was a pitiful man too. Over the next few days, Zhou Jinhuan occasionally brought Xingchun over. At times, I found myself dazed. It all seemed unchanged from 3 years ago, but the servants occasionally passing through the villa constantly reminded me that I was not worthy. The wedding drew closer each day. I should have been happy to leave Zhou Jinhuan for good, yet my heart was filled with deep reluctance. Until the day of the wedding, when bodyguards hauled me into a dressing room, the staff put me in a white suit, then escorted me to the ceremony. The backdrop displayed the wedding couple's names in huge letters. Groom, Xingchun. Bride, Zhou Jinhuan. Between them was an extravagant heart covered in diamonds. Every guest around us was shocked. Meanwhile, Zhou Yinghuai was raging helplessly outside the dressing room. I quickly took a wedding invitation from a staff member, but when I opened it, it only read, "The couple invite you to." Zhou Jinhuan had played me. It seemed she truly only wanted to marry me. For a moment, I did not know what to do. My heart hammered in my chest. Then Zhou Jinhuan walked over in a wedding dress. She slowly took my right hand, looking at me with tender affection. "Xiaoxing, I never meant to deceive you back then. The Zhou group was in turmoil. I did not want you to get hurt for me again. The childhood engagement was nothing more than an arrangement made by our parents. I have explained everything to both families, from beginning to end. You have been the only one for me. You are the only person I want to marry. As for Mr. Zhou, we used to be business partners. If you do not want that in the future, all cooperation will end. There will be no more secrets or suspicion between us." With that, Zhou Jinhuan's eyes reddened at the corners. She took out a ring. "I am willing to be Xingchun's wife, to love and honor him for the rest of my life. Will you?" No. Zhou Jinhuan did not pressure me. She only had the bodyguards take me back to the villa. Bored, I lay in bed scrolling through my phone, when I saw that Zhou Jinhuan and I were already trending. Zhou Jinhuan and Xingchun. Zhou Group CEO makes a bold declaration of love. Xingchun has unbelievable luck. In an instant, I went from an unknown young artist to the internet's newest lucky charm. The comments poured in beneath the hashtags. A gender-swapped romance novel has come to life. The male lead finds an amnesiac, domineering female CEO, gives her money and his body, then becomes a wealthy family's live-in son-in-law, and reaches the peak of life. If you ask me, this is an unequal relationship. The CEO cheated him out of money and deceived him, too. Can a few words really erase it all? She is just trash. When do rich people ever have real love? Xingchun casually picked up Heish's richest person. His luck is practically divine. I have already made him my lock screen. What happened next was the most absurd plot twist imaginable. My paintings suddenly became wildly sought after. Before long, I had become a rising star in the painting and calligraphy world. In only 6 months, I had already held 5 exhibitions. Of course, the person who collected the most of my work was Zhou Jinhuan. She spent a fortune buying nearly 2/3 of my paintings, then displayed them prominently everywhere, including the Zhou Group headquarters and its various properties, as well as the buildings of Zhou Group partners. Even on the exterior billboards of Heishi's largest mall, there were prints of my work, and that was merely Zhou Jinhuan's standard routine for pursuing me after her proposal failed. Besides that, she had other little tricks that left me too embarrassed to keep. Living in Heishi, if I showed even the slightest liking for a restaurant, the Zhou Group would buy it the next day. And whenever I entered it again, The wait staff would line up neatly at the entrance and ask in unison, Mr. G, will you marry Miss Zhou today? If I bought clothes from a brand more than 3 times in a row, then, as expected, that brand would launch a collaboration with the Zhou group, and its inspiration would invariably be, has Miss Zhou married Mr. G today? On my birthday, Zhou Jinhuan even set off fireworks along the Heiress river bank for an hour. At the end, the fireworks formed the words, Miss Zhou loves Mr. G. There was even a fan community for Zhou Jinhuan and me online. Its daily check-in question was, did Miss Zhou's proposal succeed today? She never again mentioned letting me leave. I merely counted the zeros in my bank balance. I did not know how to respond to Zhou Jinhuan. Perhaps I still could not let go of what happened back then. Or perhaps it was the vast difference in our status now. Until one day, after dinner, we were walking by the river. The bodyguards tactfully did not follow us. Suddenly, a man in black lunged out from the roadside, pressing a dagger to my waist. The next second, as I tried to seize the dagger, Zhou Jinhuan rushed over and shoved me away. Then came the tearing sound of a blade piercing flesh. Hearing it, the bodyguards rushed over and subdued the man in black. But Zhou Jinhuan's clothes were nearly drenched in blood. Her eyes were unfocused. With one hand, I held up her slumping body. With the other, I tried to press down on the wound. I was comforting her, but it felt more like I was comforting myself. Do not be afraid. You will be okay. The ambulance will be here any moment. She struggled to open her eyes. Her pale lips moved faintly. This time, I will be the one to protect you. In the end, I have no idea how I followed the ambulance to the hospital. Before Zhou Jinhuan was wheeled into surgery, she ordered the doctors to examine me from head to toe. I only had a few scrapes, but she spent a full 6 hours in surgery. The bodyguards worked quickly. The man in black was sent by Zhou Yinghuai. He wanted to murder me to keep me quiet, then take Zhou Jinhuan back. The doctors all said Zhou Jinhuan was seriously injured. The dagger had nearly pierced straight through her kidney. She needed complete rest, and someone should care for her around the clock. After all, she was her protecting me. The bodyguards held me back, not allowing me to do anything else. That night, she kept calling my name in a weak voice. Xing, I want some porridge. The kind you make yourself. Otherwise, my kidney will not heal properly. Xing, my back is itchy. Can you scratch it for me? Otherwise, I will not sleep well. Xing. Every word made the veins in my forehead throb. I wanted to rush over and cover her mouth. Suddenly, she said quietly, I am tired. You should go home. Remember to apply the ointment in the bedside drawer. It is expensive. Then she buried her head under the covers and fell silent. The fight immediately drained out of me. My heart was a mess of emotions. I lowered my head and said, okay. Then I turned and left the room. Somehow, I found myself walking back to that shabby little house. I had no key, so I sat outside the door all night. That was when an elderly neighbor spotted me during her morning exercise. Oh, Xing, you are back. Why are you sitting out here alone? Did you not come back with your wife? What? I looked up at her, confused. Since when do I have a wife? You'd had a fight, did you? I do not mean to meddle, but you should be more understanding of her. Every neighbor knows what a wonderful wife you have. You are always busy with work, so she often comes here alone to clean this place. She even took Xingchun home with her. During holidays, she always visits everyone for you. That security guard at the entrance was hired specifically by her. She said the neighborhood security was not good enough. Several times, she would curl up alone in that house and cry so loudly the whole building could hear. I did not dare go inside. Your wife is beautiful, kind-hearted, and devoted to you. Her family is wealthy, too. What more could you possibly want? What conflict could the two of you not talk through? Listening to her, I tried to argue, but I did not know what to say. She was right. What conflict cannot be resolved if two people talk it out? I stood up and looked at the windows she had polished until they gleamed. Ma'am, I understand. I am going home now. When I returned to the hospital room, Zhou Jinhuan was sitting up in bed, eating fried dough sticks. The moment she saw me, she immediately lay back down. She grimaced and cried that her wound hurt and that her head was spinning. Her secretary turned to look at me, then resentfully shoved the rest of the breakfast into my hands. Mr. G, you finally came back. President Zhou made a fuss all night. Zhou Jinhuan shouted. I did not. But the second our eyes met, she shrank back. I walked over and sat beside her bed. Her fingers nervously twisted the blanket. With her head lowered, she asked timidly, did you not change clothes last night? So, she was indirectly asking where I had gone. But she had stationed so many black-clad bodyguards around me. How could she not know? So I smiled and asked, did your secretary not tell you? At that, she hung her head and curled herself into a ball, just like a little kitten, exactly as she had been 3 years ago. I went home. As I spoke, I watched her expression. Thank you for the past 3 years. She shoved her whole head under the blanket. She probably thought I was politely rejecting her. She did not say another word. I pulled her out from under the blanket and teased. 3 years ago, I never truly knew you. Will you introduce yourself properly now? Zhou Jinhuan's eyes instantly lit up. Like a child about to give a presentation, She cleared her throat. My name is Zhou Jinhuan. I am from Haishi. I am an only child. I am 5 feet. 6.3 inches tall. I weigh 100.9 pounds in the morning. My ID number is 301XXX. I am the current chairwoman of the Zhou group. I speak 8 foreign languages. My hobby is Xingchun. In my spare time, I like watching movies and doing yoga. I am worth nearly 10 billion yuan. I own 27 Haishi properties worth over 10 million yuan each. My bank cards are in the first wardrobe in the bedroom dressing room, in the safe in the 3rd drawer on the left. The password is your birthday. I hurried over and covered her mouth. Then I flicked her forehead hard. Could you not say those things at home? Zhou Jinhuan held her forehead, her gaze burning as she looked at me. You know, I want to hear something else. From Zhou Jinhuan's account, I finally pieced together the whole truth. 3 years ago, Zhou Jinhuan's father suddenly fell ill and slipped into a coma. The other relatives tried to swallow the entire Zhou group whole, so her uncle arranged a car accident targeting the Zhou group's sole heir. But the people watching Zhou Jinhuan did not want to work overtime. When they saw the hospital had given up treating her, they reported the job done. Her memory was damaged when she left the hospital. So, when she said she could not find her family, she was not entirely lying. But soon after coming home with me, her memories returned. She feared I would have reservations because of her status, so she kept pretending to have amnesia. Of course, she was more afraid of dragging me into her family's power struggle. After all, the massive turmoil at the company then dominated headlines across every major media outlet. Only a working stiff like me had no time for wealthy family gossip. While she was recovering at my home, she secretly kept in touch with her trusted people, hiding in the shadows as she outmaneuvered her uncle and the others. My uncle sent someone to assassinate me, but I never expected you to be hurt instead. So I could only ask Zhou Yinghuai to make you jealous and leave. But you did not hesitate for even a second. You not only lied that you would become some investor's kept man, you even conspired with him to fake your death and have your official registration cancelled. You made me go through so much just to find you. Only later did I learn that he had already approached you once before that. I wanted to tell you the truth, but I had not yet dealt with those old bastards in the Zhou family. All I could do was wait and wait. Only recently did I dare set the bait and lure you back to me. I know I was wrong. Xing. I looked into her aggrieved eyes and gave a cold snort. Then what about those bed photos of you and Zhou Yinghuai? And what is this about calling him your fiancé now? I was afraid you would not be able to let me go, so I had them edited. Zhou Yinghuai had always wanted ties with the Zhou group. We were only business partners. He was the one who developed feelings he should not have. Had I known, I would never have asked him to deceive you. I nodded. Everything that happened 3 years ago had turned out to be the gift of the Magi. I self-righteously thought I was doing what was best for her when I chose to leave, and she was afraid I would get hurt too. So she deliberately drove me away. But in truth, all either of us wanted was the other. Yet we wasted 3 whole years apart and nearly lived with that regret forever because of a misunderstanding. I suddenly laughed. This morning, the neighbor said I had a wife. Does President Zhou know her? Zhou Jinhuan blinked. Since President Zhou does not know her, I will be leaving then. My wrist was seized tightly. The next second, she bit down on my lips. You bastard. Try walking